I've always been a good avid reader of comics. Marvel, DC, uh, some things from other ends like Boom Comics, maybe some Image stuff. Whatever floats my boat. And Transformers is one of those things. It's a big inspiration to my character design. There's a lot of stuff I like about it. I collect a number of their figures. There's a number of various characters I really love, like Lugnut and Blitzwing, and the Insecticons. Obviously, I really love those guys. So I've been enjoying the recent Transformers comic by Robert Kirkman and Image. I've been enjoying that universe that they have with the GI Joes and whatnot. Still trying to catch up a little bit on the GI Joe end, but I've been enjoying uh, everything going on with Transformers so far. However, there's one weak link that I find is a detriment to this particular run. Alita 1. Now, typically, Alita 1 is depicted as a leading figure, supporting figure in the Autobot faction. Sometimes she's like kind of like a close sort of right hand to Optimus to a degree. Sometimes they like to depict Alita 1 and Optimus being in a relationship. It really depends on what they want to do with that version of them at the time. But in this version, they wanted to go something a little bit different, right? They wanted to make Alita have a bit of a issue with Prime, right? Because while Prime and some of the other Autobots have been stuck on Earth, being in stasis, and then later fighting the Decepticons that are on Earth, she's been left on Cybertron with very few numbers and dealing with the other Decepticons like Shockwave and them. And she's very upset with Optimus because he wants to protect Earth from the Decepticons instead of just coming back to Cybertron. She is fully willing to let the Decepticons take over Earth as long as she can get them to come back and do that and stop them on Cybertron. And it's like, all right, makes sense. I can see the idea. It's not a bad idea. I can work with this. Some rough issues within the ranks kind of thing. Makes sense. Makes sense. And they've been kind of toying this off here and there by having them interact to in some short instances, but then it all culminates in this recent issue where Alita 1 shows up at possibly the worst time. This is right when Megatron is on the run. Like, he is on the run, he is kind of not 100%, and Optimus and them are ready to take out the Decepticon forces on Earth once and for all. But she stops them dead in their tracks because she's gotta get Optimus, you know? Like, she's trying to make a plea for him to come back to Cybertron, that they have to answer to her for them not coming back to Cybertron immediately. Literally, the worst time you could be doing that when this version of Megatron is literally gorging on people. Like, he is ripping apart an Autobot's throat and snacking on it like a steak. I mean, look at this. You stopped your commanding officer from taking out Megatron, public enemy number one in all of Transformers media. If there is one thing I can say, is Megatron has to die. Otherwise, there will be no peace. Otherwise, the Decepticons become worse as a result. Because on their own, the Decepticons are a very dangerous force all on their own. But if you have Megatron at the helm, things get bad. Like, and I've seen the difference with leadership and how it affects it. Like, Starscream, it was all just blitz attacks and no real, like, strategy. You know, they were dangerous, but they were unwieldy. They were just thrown around. Soundwave, when he got control of the group on Earth, there was a lot more strategy. There was a lot more focus. They were devious. And then when they got Megatron, oh, it became worse. And it's really bad when you had him on the run. I mean, look at this. That's Megatron right there. He's been incapacitated. He's not in his best state. They could have finished him off. They had him on the run. But RC had to stop it. And why is that? Because she was upset that Prime wouldn't come back to Cybertron. And it's like, okay, I could understand that problem. But she then says that Prime is no longer fit to lead, you see. She decides that, oh, I'm going to fight you now and challenge your leadership. Even though that's not how the Autobots work. That's more of a Decepticon thing, which we have seen in a early issue with Starscream and Soundwave. But this doesn't really stop her, because she starts the fight, and Optimus is not trying to fight her. Like, obviously, like, why would he, you know? Despite any relationships, she's still an Autobot, she's still a friend, but that doesn't stop her from trying to kill him. And even when Clipjumper tries to stop it, look what she does. She slams this little fucker right into the ground. Like, she's bloodthirsty. You know, wanting to just throw down. And it's like, what are you doing, woman? And then she's just trying to fight and beat the crap out of Prime. You know, kick his damn teeth in. And she's trying to forcibly remove the Matrix. Because she's upset. And it's like, okay, look, I get it. You're upset that you're upset that Prime didn't come back to Cybertron. You're upset that he isn't going to come back until he's done taking down the Decepticons on Earth. I totally understand that. But the way they go about it is, like, insane. Because what they do is she essentially just guilt trips him. She guilt trips him after she fails to kill him. And then, you know, Optimus gives her the Matrix. She becomes Elita Prime. And the first thing she does is go, hey, all you fuckers, you gotta come back with me to Cybertron, and if any of you stay, you are no longer Autobots. The first thing she has as leader is, join me or you are no longer with us. And I'm sorry, this was a horrible execution of this idea. Like, I understand the intent was, okay, let's have someone other than Optimus become, like, the leader, the Prime, so to speak. And it's like, okay, it's happened before in other Transformers media. It's not that crazy. You had, like, stuff like Hot Rod and Bumblebee and Ultra Magnus and such. Like, alright, makes sense. Fine, I can go for that. But the execution of this by, like, you made Elita 1 be a bloodthirsty psycho that when Optimus wouldn't listen to her, she decides, I'm gonna start beating the fucking shit out of you and try to forcibly take the Matrix, Decepticon style. And when people try to stop her, she's willing to beat her own people up. Like, I'm sorry, this is not an Autobot. That's Decepticon behavior. This is shit Starscream was doing for a laugh. And mind you, she did this at the worst time when We were trying to stop him. Megatron was beaten, more or less. You just needed to finish him off, but no. And all this does, it makes people not like this character because this is a horrible characterization of her. Like, I'm not expecting RC to just straight up glaze Optimus and suck his dick every time she sees the guy. Alright? If you want to have them have some, like, beef and some, like, tensions because she feels upset that he wasn't there to help the Autobots out on Cybertron, okay, makes sense. I can work with that. But the fact that you decided to make her try to kill him, to try to rip the Matrix out of him, like, become bloodthirsty, the fact that she's willing to beat up her own soldiers, her own following, like, soldiers that are meant to die for their leader. She's willing to do that because she's upset. You made her look bloodthirsty. You made her look like a psychopath. And then she just gets it because she more or less guilt trips Optimus into giving her the damn Matrix. And it's like this horrendous line of like, oh, you would have been a better leader than I have been for our people, for all our people. It's like, what? That, like, you can't do that. Like, you can't have... You can't have this. You cannot have this. This is not the way you go about this story. Like, if you want to have your moment with Alita Prime, like Alita becoming a Prime and all this, like, it's not a bad idea on its own. The execution was god-awful. And this was probably the single worst issue of this run. A run that has been more or less pretty spotless, save for a few things here or there. But this is pretty bad. Like, why would you do this? Like, why would you do it in this way? Like, this execution. Like, horrible execution. You want to make her a leader? You know, you want to make her a Prime? Okay, there's ways you can go about that, but you went about it the worst way. You didn't have to depict Alita, like, trying to kill him. Like, trying to kick his goddamn teeth in. You didn't have to depict her slamming Cliff Jumper into the fucking ground because he was trying to stop his friends from killing each other. Granted, Optimus wasn't fighting back because he wasn't trying to hurt a friend of his. But, like, why, Kirkman? Why? You could, if you maybe stretched it out a bit where maybe Alita, like, talks to Optimus more and they can argue over, like, the merits of it. Like, hey, why stick around on this world? You know, like, Cybertron's our home and we need you. Okay, we need our commanding officer. We need you back home. And Prime could be like, hey, look, I can't leave because the fight is here. I can't let the Decepticons tear apart this world because I know what they'll do. They'll do the same thing they've been doing to Cybertron, and it will not. And I can't let these people do it because they can't defend themselves. And you could also be like, hey, look, Megatron is out there. I gotta stop him because say they conquer the world, like, you think they won't come back to Cybertron in greater numbers and with greater resources? Like, you could have done something. Something other than make Alita literally try to beat the shit out of Optimus Prime and force her way to get the Matrix, and then Optimus just gets guilt-tripped into giving her the fucking Matrix. Like, what the fuck is this? Like, this was a terrible ass execution, Kirkman. And, I don't know what you're gonna do for the future, but I really hope this is one of those uh like one-offs where you had a bad idea that you didn't execute and you learn from this. Because if this is the pattern you're gonna go with, it's gonna be bad for this run of Transformers, which I really like. I really want it to be good. I want it to stay good. I want less of this stupid, poorly executed nonsense, and more of what made the series good. I know probably I'll get a lot of hate for it, but hey, it is what it is.